Cox named Tara Toohey to head that commission earlier this week. Cox said while announcing Toohey's appointment that Commissioner Toohey has been a dedicated member of the Alcoholic Beverage Services Commission for 2 years, and he says he knows that she will step into this leadership role with continued commitment to the state of Utah. Toohey will replace Juliet Tennert, who just completed a 1-year term as chair of the panel. Toohey had previously served as vice chair of that commission, and a new vice chair will be selected by a vote of commissioners at their July 21st meeting. Toohey explained that as commissioners, they are responsible for ensuring public safety and that alcohol policies are followed, while also supporting Utah businesses and event organizers that are foundational to the state's economy. Toohey was born in Logan. She attended Skyview High School and graduated from Utah State University with a dual major in political science and economics. Toohey is currently president of AT&T's Mountain West States external and legislative affairs efforts in Utah, Idaho, and Montana. And community leaders and Amtrak met at the Greater Northwest Passenger Rail Summit to discuss the future of passenger rail transit in the Gem State. Boise has not had passenger rail since 1997, when Amtrak closed the Pioneer Line. The Pioneer Line connected Salt Lake City to Seattle with stops in Boise, Portland, and other cities and towns. But there is growing momentum that the line or something similar might return in the future. The Great Northwest Passenger Rail Summit, in its second year, discussed enhancing rail connectivity in the region Wednesday and Thursday, with Amtrak CEO attending on Thursday and speaking on the issue. KBNU weather brought to you by the Lawn Doctor. Just one application of Lawn Doctor's HydroGuard service reduces your watering frequency by up to 1 day a week, saving you water and money. Call the Lawn Doctor at 753-LAWN. Very dangerous conditions over the weekend. An excessive heat warning is in effect from 9 a.m. Saturday to 9 a.m. Monday. This does include the Utah portion of the Cache Valley. Very hot temperature Saturday around 101 and then 103 on Sunday afternoon. Overnight low tonight around 60. Get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
If you've ever passed by 485 North Main, you've likely noticed how well kept the property is. The grass is always green and the flower beds are always well kept and in bloom. What you see on the outside is exactly what you'll find inside. Care and attention to detail. Exactly what you want when you're dealing with one of your most important senses, your hearing. Dr. Daines' love and care for the community has always gone beyond the front steps at Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. So if you're not hearing as well as you used to, stop in at 485 North Main in Logan or visit them online at cachehearing.com.
The Do It for Dawson 3-on-3 tourney is back. Register your team today for all the fun Saturday, August 5th. Every age, every ability. A full day of fun, prizes, and food. Last year's tournament was amazing, showing current USU basketball players and other special guests for unbelievable fun. All proceeds help local families, children, and programs in need. Honor Dawson's legacy. Google Do It for Dawson for the website and Facebook information. Do It for Dawson 3-on-3 tourney. Registration is open till July 28th.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
Kind of hot in these rhinos.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People movie show with Andy Morgan here in the studio.
It's me.
It me.
Does everyone feel better now?
It's warm.
I was
Kind
thinking
of hot in these rhinos.
that's what I thought when I pulled up in my car.
This is a great way to start the show because it's going to be worse tomorrow.
Well,
Did you see that?
I was totally air conditioned, and then I opened my door to come into the studio, and as soon as I opened it, and I don't know if Jason, if this is how your
It's
brain,
like a slap in the face. Huh?
I don't know if this is how your brain works, but this is how my brain works. Is I'll have a thought that comes in, and almost, I want to say 80% of the time it's matched with some type of movie quote. So as soon as I opened the door, I thought of that scene in Ace Ventura.
That is
When nature calls, when he goes into the rhino.
I realized
And the fan quits.
I sent you this, but I realized that my head is. So I knew my head was full of useless movie trivia and quotes.
It's never useless.
I didn't know that it went so far as to be able to identify, at first glance, very obscure characters in movies.
Is this the shark thing you sent me?
Yeah, I sent you this. So for listeners out
what?
there, there's a person out there who now these are extremely expensive because he only makes one. He's a sculptor, but he sculpts with he basically makes action figures, and he puts them in boxes that look like, when he does the Star Wars ones, they look like the old Kenner boxes.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Looks really good, and he sells them for like
I thought it was
a lot of money.
What you sent me?
He's an artist, and it's really, really expensive to buy one of his piece of works. But it's so cool that he does it. But he does this thing now where he's making action figures for like characters in movies that were there for like 3 seconds. And one of them is he does the guy who caught the tiger shark in Jaws.
Yep.
And he actually puts his face on the action figure box with
what?
the open mouth. But from that scene when he's what?
That's not the shark.
I laugh so hard.
Yeah.
But now I want one of these. I'm gonna have to save up some money.
Yeah.
I don't need one of these.
That's going to be like somebody else wants to buy a Porsche when they get rich, and you're buying that.
Yeah. I want one of those one-of-a-kind action figures from a movie character that nobody even remembers was in the movie, and really quick.
Like Prune Face?
Can we just, Prune Face or...
Prune Face, ma'am.
That...
were you? I know
George Lucas. They did that with Star Wars, though. Remember, they licensed characters for everybody there at Jabba's palace.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
Even the ones that were just there in a pan shot.
Were you the kind of person?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Were you the kind of person that you remember, like somebody, right? They were like, "Oh, Jason likes Star Wars."
Oh, yeah.
And then you got like. You were like, who's this little weasel guy? This little, and then you find out it's the one tiny little badger weasel with his little blue vest that was like, Remember you know what I'm talking about?
Do you know what one of the hardest ones is?
At the bar. What's the bar called? The Cantina.
Star Wars fans, if you want to challenge,
I had a hammerhead.
If you'd like,
I had the hammerhead.
I had
guy.
hammerhead. I had the Ognaughts. They're in Empire Strikes Back. They throw C-3PO around.
They're the guys that
their only.
They were the manual labor
furry rat things. Yeah, manual labor.
They went on strike right after that.
There's a big uprising, Ognaught uprising.
Ognaught. Well, and then here's the weird thing. Not to I'm not trying to cut you off, but what do we have 25 years later? And Jon Favreau's like, let's make that a main character in the
Mandalorian. It literally
I have spoken.
Yeah. It talks now. That's all I thought through that whole episode. It talks now. No. So here's my challenge for Star Wars fans, and then we can quickly move on from this.
So fun to make fun of.
Really early in the show tangent we've gotten off on, but the challenge for Star Wars fans, and I had the action figure. Squid. I know remember. Is it Squid Face or Squid Head? I think it's Squid Face.
No, it's Squid Face.
Yeah. So
Robot Chicken does a really, really funny bit on that.
Oh, so your challenge for the weekend is find him in Return of the Jedi. Oh, I shouldn't have even said that. No, we'll give you that clue. It's in Return of the. He's in Return of the Jedi.
Have you seen the Robot Chicken bit
He's
on
in
that?
There, but. Yeah.
Where the Emperor wants to go up the elevator and there's a whole elevator full of Squid Face.
And they're just like,
plenty of room.
Plenty of room.
He says, I'll catch the next one.
I'll wait for the next car.
We can shift over. He's like, look, I don't want my robes to smell like a fillet of fish.
Plenty of room.
He's like, that's just hurtful, man. They go right up.
And then the doors close.
And then he takes the long escalator up with like every stormtrooper going down saluting him. Yeah. I gotta hand it. Here's the thing: if you love something, you should be able to make fun of it. Yeah. Let's be honest. I love Star Wars, but because I love it, I'm completely comfortable mocking it to no end.
So I along these lines. I'll just put this out there, and this isn't. This is.
I know where you're going already.
This is going to get political. But I'm going to say this is not specific to. It's the right wing right now, It's not specific to that because I've seen liberals and progressives do the exact same thing. But, man, people, take a breath.
Well, but you know what it
Did
is?
you see Ben Shapiro today?
My producers forced me to go to Barbie, and it's the most woke movie I've ever seen. I don't know if he talks like that.
And he promises he's going to do this entire episode on this. And I had this little viral moment that I didn't plan with Utah because a Utah lawmaker actually agreed with me, a Republican. And I said, this reminds me of the time that I went to Steel Magnolias and cried, but then had to pretend I didn't the next day because I was in middle school and emotionally underdeveloped.
Yep.
Implying, as I often do, that Ben Shapiro is underdeveloped emotionally. Obviously, he's doing this because it gets him clicks and money.
Oh, sure.
But where is the audience? Everyone grow up.
Yeah,
Seriously, just grow
I'm going to play
up.
the
This
other.
is so juvenile.
I'm going to play the other card. Last week we
and
talked
again,
about.
this isn't left or right. I've seen the left do it at times before.
We've been doing. Let's be honest. Let's point the finger back. And I know we could put some layers here and say, well, hang on. But I mean, it's the same thing. Like when people are like, "Sound of Freedom," you know what I mean? Like hard pass. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Although,
I was going to say, maybe there's some more layers.
It's bad.
But my point is like I think it's
not well done.
This is the political culture we're in, right? It's like, oh, you wanna.
Well, remember,
you want to set the stuff I like on fire. I'm going to set what you like on fire.
I think a better example is the left was Clint Eastwood goes and does that weird thing at the convention,
the chair
thing. It was weird, but
the empty chair.
After that, the left picked every Clint Eastwood. He only did like 2 movies after that, 3, I think. Anyway, the left has picked them apart since then because they're mad at Clint because he did that, and that's just dumb. American Sniper, remember that?
Yeah, and Clint's about, honestly, even I know he was there, and I don't know how he got talking to that. I think they took him off his medication, but he's about he doesn't like extremism at all. He's a very. I mean, if there was an actual libertarian, if there was a libertarian in the country, it probably would be Clint Eastwood, but not Rand Paul.
I guess my point is like these are movies. These are and so
no one's forcing you to see it.
Being frustrated with a lot of people that I would probably identify with on all other issues politically that just were livid about American Sniper. And I saw it, and I get it. I'd actually read the book, too.
Yeah, same.
And I knew the story, that he embellished his own record a little bit, and I knew that this was a guy looking to be, the next Joe the Plumber, and, have his 15 minutes. I get it. It was still a
engrossing
book.
It was an
engrossing story. What was true about the story he told was still fascinating.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
I thought the movie was done well. And the left absolutely just couldn't admit there was anything good about it whatsoever. Yeah. And now you're seeing Ben Shapiro do the same thing with Barbie. And I want to say to everybody, these are movies.
This is a thing, and it's just building.
Up.
It's just this building momentum. And
I'm not saying you have to see it.
No, it bothers me though because again, I have issues with like when people say, "Oh, well, they're going woke." You go woke, you go broke.
No one even knows what they mean.
I don't even know what does that even mean. And here's my issue. Like, remember.
The muffin guy doesn't even know what he means.
Remember in 2016 or 2017,
it's the meatball guy,
when they did when Beauty and the Beast, the live action of Beauty and the Beast came out, and Josh Gad played whatever the little assistant is to. I don't know all that. I'm sorry, I don't know all the Beauty and the Beast characters, but remember, what's the other guy's name? Bruno, the big guy.
So you can
Braun.
You can talk about Squidhead, who's in Return of the Jedi for 1.5 seconds. You don't know all the.
What's
Beauty
the
and the
guy's name in
characters.
Beauty and the Beast? The big chunky fella that's got the ponytail that loves Belle.
I can't remember either.
I think it's Braun.
Wait, let's go with that. It's
somebody out there right now is just banging their fists on their
753-586.
banging their fists.
Disney fans,
no,
enlighten us.
But he has that little assistant who's kind of a goofball in the cartoon, and in the show he's still a goofball, but like it was implied that he might be a gay character. Nothing super serious, right? Like it's like Brokeback Mountain.
I forgot about this.
And everyone's
quote
like,
unquote scandal.
Great, I'm going to take my kids to this show, and they're going to go out gay. They're going to come out gay from the movie. Like, come on, man.
Which is, of course, 1, not how it works. 2.
It's
a
so
really embarrassing thing to allow yourself to think and say.
Well, I just don't get it.
I
do not understand. Like, why are you so offended? Like, what is it? Like, what is
that's what I don't get.
What is so bothering you?
I'm not saying, like, you are more than welcome. I have some friends that I respect a lot that are disgusted this Barbie movie happened. And I plan to see it.
Yeah, if anybody's mad about it, it's a cash grab of Mattel.
But and I'm not saying you have to like and approve of every movie ever made. I'm just saying this, like, politicized, but it's more than that. It's virtue signaling. That's what I'm looking for. People are hating these things because it's become a way to be a part of an in-group online. It's a way to be a part of a community, and it is this is what I'm going to say. Something that's going to offend so many people right now. If you are upset because Barbie has some slight digs at the patriarchy in it, you are no better than the Twilight fans that lost friends because of Team Jacob and Team Edward.
I agree.
That is the same thing. So welcome to that club.
Well, and can we also talk about this? You and I talk about this all the time about
now
people.
The Twilight fans are mad too. I'm just
We're gonna make everybody mad today.
Them off here
no,
today.
but here's an example. Like, and we don't have to belabor this.
Team Jacob, we're fascists.
But I'm going to use this as an example. And this is the one I always do, is remember, end of Game of Thrones, Season 8.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was mad. I shouldn't say everyone was mad.
There was a heyday of silliness, right?
Yeah, a contingent that started a petition that I think even got up to like 1 million people.
Demanding
and they were
remake.
like, HBO, you must remake Season 8. And give us a 9 and 10 in the process, right? Like, HBO is going to read that and go,
oh, we better do it.
You guys.
Internet nerds are mad.
Hi, Dave. Dave and Dan. Yeah, we need you guys to come back. Yeah, scrap it. Scrap what we did. We're just going to erase it. Nah, it's good. No, but here's my thing. We talked about entitlement, and I think there's a thread of entitlement in this too.
Nolan 1 2 3 4 5 7 12 is really angry.
Well,
look at his comment here on Twitter.
That's my thing.
Oh, scrap it.
So my comment is, why? In what world do you think entertainment has to conform to everything you think, and not even entertainment. Yeah. Let's talk about it as like an art form, right? Like, believe it or not, films are art, and if that's that artist's vision, they are in no way obligated to make this movie so that it appeases every single person.
And I'm not even going. So I'm not trying to sit on some high horse of like, I don't judge. No, I judge all the time. I'm still mad about the Macarena thing. And I'm sorry, the Show Me the Money movie. Jerry Maguire? That movie, that is a bad movie. It is not that is not a good movie.
It's too bad that people can't see our faces
that
here.
That movie, Andy's just looking at me like I'm an idiot. That movie...
You like Muppets, so what can I say?
That movie is only Jerry Maguire is only remembered the way it's remembered because there was nothing else good in theater. That was like a desert of good stuff.
Remember when I stood out on your
Jerry
lawn?
Maguire came out and they're like, oh, this is better than everything else. It's great.
Remember when I stood out on your lawn on the 4th of July and did the Independence Day speech out of a megaphone to wake you up?
Like say anything? With the ghetto blaster above your head.
Because I know how much you love that movie.
Peter Gabriel's in your eyes.
I know how much you love that movie.
Yeah, so I tend to get a little judgmental about bandwagons.
But that's okay. It's okay.
But I've never once thought, you know what, I'm right in the studio. I'm going to demand that they remake this movie.
I'm going to do a 2-hour podcast tonight.
I didn't care for, so...
I'm going to put this in my bio of my Tinder profile.
I was mad when...
If you like Barbie, swipe right.
Speaking of Oppenheimer and movies this weekend, I was mad when Christopher Nolan wasted valuable time. He could have been making something else very cool doing Man of Steel. You know what I mean? Like I do have opinions that I acknowledge are kind of. Maybe I should step back a little bit.
But you know the difference between
you. I've never once thought of. It's okay to not like it. It's okay to have an opinion about not liking it. You're a critic. I mean, you get that. But I'm talking about this bandwagon where it becomes like a club.
Yeah.
To hate.
Well, it is. It's a hate club.
Yeah, and it's so high school. No, it's not even high school. It's middle school.
I don't even think it's middle school.
That's like 6th, 7th grade
creepy,
kind of stuff.
Like I don't know what it is. It's something new. I'm sure these people have always been alive from the dawn of time.
Yeah, the reason
now they have a
social media is like
forum.
an organizing tool.
Remember,
for mad internet
it's
nerds.
just been worse. Like, remember when blogs first came apart, when blogs first hit the internet and you could leave comments. I remember one time I wrote an article.
Remember newspaper website comment pages? They're still around. But remember when they were the thing?
Still there.
Yeah.
I wrote an article
about
about
going to the Herald Journal website and thinking, wow, how do they not get sued?
No, I wrote an article about not loving Twilight after it was one of the final movies trailer.
I remember this.
And man, I got lit up. And here's the thing. It's like, here's what I'm going to say. How insecure are you if somebody says, I don't like that you immediately go into rage hate mode?
Yeah.
Like you become, road rage in the entertainment.
Actually, Independence Day is the greatest example of what we're talking about, because I hate it, you like it. And I don't think any less of you or your ability to assess. In fact, you're still one of those people that if you say you liked a movie, I don't really think about it. I just know I probably will. So like there's that room for these disagreements, right, where
and I'm not like Jason doesn't know anything and I don't like Muppets. You like Muppets?
Yeah, I still think both the Brady Bunch movie and the Brady Bunch movie sequel are some of the funniest film moments ever.
And you'd be right.
And yeah, but like a lot of people would disagree with that, right?
Well, here's an example.
It's okay.
I argued with this guy on Twitter like 3 or 4 weeks ago about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And he was like, "Oh, Lucasfilm, they've ruined it. They've ruined this franchise. Kathleen Kennedy's ruined Lucasfilm."
See, that was another
blah,
one.
blah, blah.
Ben Shapiro's been all over that one too.
But with
and
what?
I don't even get
with
it.
With what?
It's too mean to Nazis? I don't know. He's a weird, short little guy.
I don't get it, man.
Tiny little strange man.
I don't get it. Anyway, but my point is like this guy's arguing with me, and I said, "Look, man, you don't understand." I'm going to give a shout out to somebody in our Utah Film Critics group. And hopefully somebody will take a clip of this and send it to him, because he deserves, more pats on the backs than he probably gets. But Scott Renshaw of the City Weekly, he has a thing that I've adopted. And I shouldn't say I've adopted. I've adopted the way he says it, but it's something that I've always known true in my heart. I just haven't had the words to articulate it. And he always says, two things can be true, right?
Oh.
Jason can not like Independence Day, and I can like it, and we can both be right.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about art, believe it or not. And if somebody says, you know what, I don't really love Independence Day, I'm not like, what?
And that's what I should say. I shouldn't say I hate it. My
it's okay
biggest
to hate
problem
it.
with Independence Day is it got that popular and it's just mediocre.
I
hated that a
Slumdog Millionaire.
That's one you and I would agree on, but most other people would not. I thought that was not a great movie. The story was compelling. I'd like to see someone remake that in a watchable, entertaining way.
Here's
engaging way.
Here's another dialogue that's
Although
been
it did
happening.
lead to that really funny Office joke. When Michael comes in, she says, when Michael quotes from movies he watches every night, and he greets me the next morning, and he walks in the one day and calls her Mashuvala or something. Yeah. She finally figures out what he means, and it's the nickname from Slumdog Millionaire, and she turns to the camera and goes, he's going to try and kill me.
One other discourse that's been going on the social webs.
A funnier one, right?
No,
You're going to talk about Barbenheimer?
No, I'm not going to talk about that. But
we have to talk about that a little
reverse
bit.
With Oppenheimer, you've got another group of people saying, I can't believe that people were rushing to the theater to see a movie about a man that was detonating bombs in New Mexico and caused downwinders cancer and killed my aunt and killed my...
I saw that.
And here's the thing.
I saw a guy that said his grandma had leukemia because she lived there, and which is tragic, but...
Well, we can acknowledge that.
Have you read what was going on?
But even that...
At the time...
I think the thread is, and again, I have to tip my hat to Scott Renshaw because he started this dialogue. He's like, look, if we only make movies about likable, great people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, like life, there is unsavory people, and we won't, that's part of learning, I mean...
Well, I mean, people... So this is the funny thing about...
It's not like he's celebrated. It's not like somebody's wearing an Oppenheimer T-shirt and is like, yeah, you know what I mean? Or even if they wanted to, okay.
No,
whatever.
It's
Why
history.
does it bother you?
It's history. And back to the Ben Shapiro thing. This is the my final thing I'll say about that. It's ironic he's spending all of his time on his little podcast being upset about Barbie for its jabs at the patriarchy. but Oppenheimer was a socialist. And not a peep from Ben about that.
Does he like that?
But I bring that up because that's a point. Like historical figures are complex, like all of us are even today.
Yeah.
This is an important time in history. This is a fascinating portion of history, and there's a lot about it that I think has been forgotten this far on. And
100% agree.
So yeah. And we really do have to talk about the Barbenheimer thing this week and last has been hilarious. These two movies have captured people's attention together, not separately, and it's become a meme called Barbenheimer. We'll talk about it and how fascinating it is when this happens. A lot in theaters, too. We'll run through all that, what's on the streaming services, and more as the For the People movie show continues after the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. As a true pioneer-founded town, Mendon crams a bunch of activities into their pioneer celebration with a week full of things to get them in the spirit. The pioneer town, founded in 1859, began activities on Monday, and they have continued all this week. Some of the things going on today: a flag football game, a volleyball tournament, and a visual history of the town at the Mendon Library. Those things take place this evening. Saturday's activities get started at 6:30 in the morning with a sunrise fun run, followed by the fireman's breakfast at the 8 a.m. flag ceremony. The pancake eating contest will be at 8 a.m., followed by more volleyball and frisbee golf. There's a quilt show. There is the great race that begins after the Pioneer Parade concludes, which starts at noon, by the way. And also activities go on throughout the day: softball, horseshoes, spike ball, cornhole, ping pong, beach ball, volleyball, pickleball, and bingo. The evening ends with fireworks after the ball games. That's tomorrow night in Mendon. A man has been arrested after allegedly trading firearms for drugs in Weber County. An official with the Weber Morgan Narcotics Strike Force said they had learned in May that 44-year-old Joshua Nuss was involved in trading guns for fentanyl pills. On Wednesday, Nuss was contacted by an undercover official via text. The two allegedly arranged to meet on Thursday to trade 2 firearms for fentanyl pills. Agents followed Nuss to their planned meeting location, the Maverick in Washington Terrace. They reportedly followed Nuss from his home in Uinta to the Maverick, where he was taken into custody. Court documents stated that a handgun and rifle were later recovered from Nuss's vehicle. He ultimately admitted to being a user of fentanyl pills and claimed he had last taken some on Wednesday, according to a probable cause statement. During a search warrant of Nuss's home, officials reported finding a total of 40 firearms, including handguns, rifles, and shotguns, and a bag of fentanyl pills. And an Arizona woman who suffered spinal fractures and collapsed lungs after being gored by a bison in Yellowstone National Park has said yes to her boyfriend's hospital proposal. Chris Whitehill said he had planned to propose to Amber Rogers during a vacation in the park this week, but the couple was on a walk through a Wyoming field on Monday when they spotted a bison rolling in the dirt. Their efforts to move away were not fast enough as the bison charged Rogers, throwing her into the air. She landed on her back. The 47-year-old woman was airlifted to Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center in Idaho Falls, where she is recovering from 7 fractured vertebrae, collapsed lungs, and bruising. The bison attack was the first in Yellowstone in just over a year, according to park officials. We have a few storms this afternoon, but it is going to be clearing up later on tonight and heating up over the weekend. We do have an excessive heat warning in effect for the Utah portion of the Cache Valley from 9 a.m. Saturday to 9 a.m. Monday, as temperatures are expected to be 100 to 101 on Saturday and as hot as 103 on Sunday. Overnight low tonight near 60. KBNU weather brought to you by Roof Rescue. When you need roof repair or replacement, don't call just anybody. Call someone with the experience, knowledge, and skill to get the job done right. 435-999-4268. You can always get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
If you're a do-it-yourself kind of guy or gal, then your locally owned Napa Auto Parts store is a good place to know. At Napa, they feature all the best brands: Croyle, Amsoil, Schaefer, BG, Seafoam. Find the parts, find the oil you need to keep your car and equipment running best. And for the times you need professional help working on your car, they can recommend a dozen Napa Car Care Centers with ASE certified techs. 5 locations locally owned. Preston to Providence. Voted Auto Parts Gold winner, Best of Northern Utah. Napa Auto Parts.
Didn't you watch The Terminator? That from award-winning Hollywood director James Cameron, whose time-traveling robot was a forerunner to AI.
AI in a combat theater, the whole thing just being fought by the computers at a speed that humans can no longer intercede. You have no ability to de-escalate.
Cameron, in an interview with Canada's CTV, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and other companies leading the development of AI agreed to set a set of safeguards that were brokered by the White House.
It's the first important step in an ongoing journey. We start by creating a framework and getting reputable, responsible companies to sign up to concrete commitments. We'll have the public following to ensure that we implement them.
Microsoft President and Vice Chair Brad Smith. A federal judge has set a May 20th date for former President Trump's trial on classified document charges. The U.S. Women's World Soccer team takes on Vietnam tonight in their opening World Cup match. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Dr. Josh Red, chiropractic physician, explains how Red River Health and Wellness can help you.
A lot of our patients end up having autoimmune conditions. This is where their immune system, rather than attacking bacteria, a virus, or other bad things, it starts to attack their own tissue. This can cause so many different issues and symptoms throughout the whole body. The biggest thing for us at Red River is to identify what's causing the autoimmune response to flare up. This could be intestinal problems, blood sugar imbalances, cortisol defects, hormonal imbalances, along with something as simple as dietary triggers and environmental triggers. One of the most common causes, too, when you have an autoimmune condition is you'll have inflammation throughout the whole body. Not every patient will have the same imbalances or the same triggers, and so we have to customize a very personalized treatment plan in order for these patients to feel better.
Schedule your appointment today at 855-55-RIVER. Red River Health and Wellness with offices in Logan, South Jordan, Springville, and St. George.
Call Red River today.
At Cache Valley Bank, we are celebrating our pioneers and their contributions to shaping our great state. Join us as we celebrate the Days of 47 with our promotion. From now until July 31st, you can receive a 4.7 annual percentage yield on an 18-month certificate of deposit, or a 4% annual percentage yield on an 1847-day certificate of deposit. Come visit us or give us a call to learn more and be part of the celebration. Cache Valley Bank, mountains await. Member FDIC. No minimum balance required. Early withdrawal penalty may apply.
Seriously, my dealership just fixed the transmission.
We all know how it can be to go to the wrong place for transmission repair. Made up of over 800 pieces, the transmission is the most complex part of your car. So bring it to the transmission experts at AMCO. AMCO, always the right fix. AA MCO.
Save $350 off a transmission rebuild. AMCO Transmission, 75 East, 2000 North. Make sure you stop in today and see owner Kurt Zollinger and his team. Restrictions, limitations, and exclusions may apply.
E-Way's been faking me out. Can't make you happy all night. You can't fight it, you can't breathe. You say
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. It is it's hot outside. Actually, it's not too bad right now. 88 degrees here at the station this afternoon, but triple digits tomorrow and Sunday.
Do you think Trevor Lee is going to go see Barbie tonight?
No.
What about John Johnson?
No. These men have reputations in the legislature.
You think Trevor Lee's going to rent some Medea movies tonight?
No. No, he's going to be watching. I won't go there.
How to take the perfect gym selfie? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I said it. Anyway,
it's weird to have those people in office.
It is so bizarre.
We've had weirder. I'll just say that. But do you remember David Lifforth?
No.
He's the guy that argued that climate change wasn't real because Mars and Earth had the same atmosphere and would not stop dying on that hill.
Well, the Earth is flat, according to Kyrie Irving.
Eventually got into it with a USU climatologist on Twitter, and at a certain point, people were encouraging him because it was that funny. Yeah.
That's actually a great. So
people get weird.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because we didn't talk about this enough last week. I think, remember, we got to the end of the show and we spent like 3 minutes on Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
So really quick, just to give people a lay of the land.
It's funny, this is kind of the forgotten movie right now. Because Indiana Jones, it was the start of the last 2 weeks' excitement over movies, and now this weekend, Oppenheimer and Barbie, and in the middle, everybody's oh yeah, Mission Impossible.
It's a great movie, and it's still doing well at the box office. But let me say this. So just to give everyone a lay of the land, we'll have full Barbie Oppenheimer reviews coming.
Yeah, I mentioned that in hour one that we were going to talk about Barbenheimer and how funny that is, but that neither one of us had a chance to see these movies this week.
But let's
usually doesn't happen. But
no, it doesn't. It's just
been a weird week.
It's been a cruel summer. I see what I did there. Anyway, no, going back to Mission Impossible, though, I think it might be one of the most frightening villains in that movie, in a movie that I've seen in a mainstream, non-horror, non-creepy serial killer movie.
Who plays the villain again?
The villain...
It's not clear in the cast who the villain is.
So we could probably divide it into two.
Or is that a spoiler?
No, it's not a spoiler. Isai Morales plays a villain in the movie called Gabriel, and he is creepy. But the real villain, truly, if you even want to call it that, is AI.
Oh, really?
I mean, that is the main thrust of the movie. Now, here's the thing. If you had told me before I went and saw it,
social commentary,
Andy, this is going to have, AI in it, and that's going to be a threat, I would go, okay, we're going down this route again. Oh, the computer's learning. It's going to take over the world. But here's the thing. The way they do it, it almost does have kind of a horror element. Like at the beginning of the movie, small spoiler alert, the intelligence community is all sitting around in the CIA director's office, which, let's be honest, no one in government has an office like this.
Yeah.
And it's played by Carrie Elwes, who everyone knows from Princess Bride. Anyhow, and they're telling them, they're like, yeah, this AI, it went into the National Bank, it went into this, it went into all these governments, it went into this, pretty much everything important. And he says, well, what did it do? And he said, nothing. It didn't do anything. And he's like, wait, what? And it's creepy. Yeah. And he said, what? It's like, it's almost like it was like, I'll be back. Like, you know what I mean?
It just,
it
just left.
Well, and then it gets into talking about like how, we're talking about artificial intelligence, like we talk about Chat GPT, where like, I think I read somewhere, I don't know if this is true or not because I haven't had a chance to fact check it. So I'm saying this right now, but I understand that, like, was it Ron DeSantis' campaign used artificial intelligence to have Trump say something in a campaign video that Trump did not say? Is that true? Accurate?
Because there was the reason so the way we knew that was true is a longtime Republican donor in Florida was mad about it and said, look, this guy was president for 4 years, and the campaign before that, you couldn't find anything he actually said to turn into an attack ad. You had to make something up and then get caught making. I mean, he was really mad. And great point from that Republican donor. That was a very dumb campaign move. But that scares me because,
well, we live in a post-truth society, and it's just another layer on top of it.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what Mission Impossible is. Is they're like. They're standing in this room one time and they said nobody knows, like, he's like, we only know what's true within this little circle talking to each other right now. And there's a scene in the movie, again, small spoiler alert, because if you haven't seen it by now, shame on you. No, I'm just kidding. There's a scene in the movie where Tom Cruise, the villain who's in league with the AI to some degree, but not quite like the AI is like, hey man, I'm gonna boss you around. More like he almost is like it's like a church to him. He's almost like a follower. It's like God to him to some degree. He's almost like a
so there's a cult aspect to it.
Yeah, he's almost like
I worry about that too.
Right. And so what he ends up doing is, he says this is what the AI said would happen, and it happens. And Tom Cruise, as he's running trying to save someone. I won't go that far. And he's on the, his little earpiece. And, the character Benji, played by Simon Pegg, is telling him, he's like, okay, turn left here and turn right here and turn left here. And then all of a sudden, Benji's laptop goes dead.
Ooh.
And he can't talk anymore to Tom Cruise, but his voice is still talking to Tom Cruise. And
but Tom Cruise doesn't know it's not.
He doesn't,
Benji.
and it's telling him to go somewhere else. And that's to me, like AI has always been a thing since back in 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? Open the pod bay doors, Hal. I'm sorry, I can't do that, Dave.
But see, that exactly. Because this is why. So I do worry about all these things. I worry about the effect of AI in politics and news, especially
in
especially
post-truth
video and audio.
Post-truth society, it's scary.
Yeah.
Well, have you watched Marvel's Secret Invasion?
Yeah. Well, 2 episodes. I really like it, by the way.
Same thing.
So yeah, I that does worry me. But one thing that doesn't worry about AI on a broader scale is actually going to take us right back to the making of the atomic bomb in Oppenheimer in theaters this weekend. We have had very dangerous tools developed before.
You're right.
And we were able to get our act together as a planet, not just as a country or a state, but as a planet, for the most part, although I did see that one movie where we accidentally dropped a bunch of nukes in Virginia. Have you ever heard that story?
No.
Yeah. So there's 7 fail-safes in a nuclear warhead.
Yeah.
And so even if they are launched, these 7 fail-safes, if it hasn't been, there's a trigger. And that trigger requires codes and keys and all that stuff. If that trigger has not been released, the fail-safes are in play. And so luckily all 7 of the fail-safes worked.
Is this movie called The Country Roads Take Me Home?
But we dropped 4 of them in Virginia out of an open door on a plane.
Wait, is this a real thing?
This is a real thing, yeah.
What in the world?
Google it. It literally happened. I don't remember when. I think it was in the 80s or 90s. But anyway, and the military was like, oopsie, don't tell anybody.
This is not the Cuban Missile Crisis. This was the John Denver Missile Crisis.
Yeah, this was leaving on a... No, so but my point is, we've had dangerous weapons or dangerous tools, I should say, before, weapons tools, and we've learned how to not let them get the worst of us. Nuclear weapons being the most extreme example, but I feel like we can do the same thing with AI. What scares me about AI?
I hope you're right.
What scares me about AI is that we're in this age of Elmo, Mr. Musk. Things are a bit musky. However you want to say it, we're in the age of this weird thing that has happened that hopefully is finally starting to dissolve now that we've seen Elmo in a spotlight for a while.
It's this my truth.
No, I'm talking about the societal deference to rich people as geniuses, to tech bros as how many times Peter Thiel was supposedly a genius, absolute moron. The guy have you ever seen video interviews with the McAfee guy, who was a genius in the 90s?
Isn't there a guy that did Overstock?
Absolutely, yeah. Patrick Byrne from Overstock, also the supposed tech guru, absolutely banana pants.
There's another guy too that developed
Elmo,
a pillow company.
Elmo, not a good decision.
Isn't there a guy that like a pillow company?
Oh, yeah, but I'm talking just mainly about tech and science.
Well, I don't know. I mean, those pillows are super techy.
Well, supposedly, I actually bought one. They don't do what
they're not great.
Not worth the money. Even before the weird stuff. But
honestly, this is like years ago, like 2014. I bought a My Pillow, and I was like, "This is not
this
good.
This is just a cheap pillow."
I wish this wasn't My Pillow.
But no, we're in this age of this deference to these supposed geniuses and gurus that just keep getting up on a national spotlight and stepping on rakes, and then we're still like, "Well, I'm sure it was just that rake," Elon's up there just dancing through a field of rakes every day, and everybody's like, "Oh, this guy's so smart." And that's what worries me about AI, is that it's coming about, it's hitting its prime at this moment when there are so many people out there that are like, "Well, he's wealthy and he uses techie sounding words. This guy must be a genius."
The thing I worry about, and
that's where I think we get in trouble with AI.
I worry about it in a post-truth society, because you can tell somebody this is not true. Like, I had a complete conversation one time with a family member regarding Pizzagate and how it was
which was
the harm it caused and how terrible it was, and how even the guys that pushed it were like, "Yeah, just kidding.
Yeah.
Like, bad idea. Sorry, everybody."
They didn't intend it to go.
And this
that
person
far.
still would not believe me. I said read the Rolling Stone article, and they said, well, Rolling Stone, that's not a real source.
Only thing
I thought that was music. And
the only news source that isn't biased is Facebook. I've heard people say that.
Have you ever seen in season 3 of Ted Lasso when they said, "Oh, I saw it on Facebook," and this lady says
that should be an instant disqualifier.
It's only she said, she goes, "Who uses Facebook? I thought it was only a place for old people and racists."
Well, it's honestly like the things that are shared on Facebook are links. But is it a link to a credible source? Like Facebook isn't the source; that's the ice skating rink for the conspiracy theorists.
Let's be honest; it's also nobody cares, right? Like you made this point about Ben Shapiro earlier, right? He's making a lot of money, right?
Yeah, but see, that's what also bothers
me
about this is that when it comes to AI and the themes that you're talking about for Mission Impossible, it worries me that we won't have an incentive to slow down
right?
And that could get messy. But I just keep going. I keep thinking with Oppenheimer in theaters. I keep thinking about the development of the atom bomb, dropping that bomb, seeing the effects, and then and obviously that's probably a more extreme example than AI's potential, the potential ills of AI. But that's interesting that Mission Impossible would handle it that way because. Well, we got to take a last break, but can we stick with this for a bit because I want to know.
There's some scary things like.
Well, I'll just ask: do they, without spoilers, is there a resolution, or is this one of those things where they set this dilemma up?
Because remember, there's part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
And the thing they open with, I know we got to go to a break, but the thing they open with in the movie is this AI was part of a Russian sub, and it's this undetectable sub that's just cruising through the world's oceans, and the idea is like how close can we get to superpowers without them knowing, and they eventually they're like, well, we're undetectable, and then they're all of a sudden they're like, hey, wait, this sub's detecting us and they're firing on us, and then right when they think they're all gonna die, right, it disappears, and they realize that they were faked out by this AI.
Okay.
I always feel every time when that part comes on, I always hear Gandalf's voice go when they're like, they let Gollum go, and he's like, let go, escaped or let go. What's the AI's point? It's creepy. It really is creepy. I did not think that I would think that was scary because I don't think HAL in 2001: A Space Odyssey is scary, and I definitely think the whole Skynet has become self-aware is not it's not realistic.
Yeah, I think this is one of those situations where sci-fi has misled us kind of because it's led us to believe that that's the threat,
this Terminator
robot uprising and machines with guns and what it really is software candidates and software TV news reporters and
creating a picture of yourself that I'm supposed to believe that you have a real lumberjack beard,
and eventually the lines of reality are so blurred that you don't know anymore what the real and the not real is. I mean, obviously we all know in our own lives, or do we? What is that we're part of a reality, but as far as our entertainment and another thing I worry about really quick, I worry about we've talked a lot about how George Lucas just kind of, because he could, went a bit too far with the cartoonish
I know where you're
cartoonish CGI in the prequels.
You're just waiting for an AI script,
which unfortunately did not distract from the bad writing as much as it could have, maybe. But it was a little much, and they did it. My only criticism of The Last Jedi too, little too much in that whole Cantino scene. I worry about that where we get to an acceptable place with movies and TV shows and streaming media, Netflix series and things like that, where where it's just it's literally all fake. Like even the voices are not real people, and
it's just all AI generated movie.
Yeah, I don't.
Someone's going to do it. They will.
Oh yeah, it'll happen before a year's up.
It'll probably happen in 2 months when the strike's still going on.
But I just don't like it. Maybe that just makes me an oldster, but I don't like it. No, sir, I don't. We'll be back right after this.
Wondering how to celebrate Pioneer Day this year? North Logan City's Pioneer Day celebrations are bigger and better than ever. Monday, July 24th, there are enough activities and entertainment for the family all day long. Start in the morning with a fun run and a fishing contest. Best parade in Utah beginning at 10 a.m. Then swing back to Elk Ridge Park at 5:30 for a charity barbecue, followed by games, outdoor movie, and finally fireworks. Presented by Thompson Family Orthodontics. North Logan City Pioneer Day celebration. A big day of laughter and entertainment. Visit northloganrec.org for more details.
Are you a renter looking for peace of mind and affordable insurance coverage? This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance. As an independent auto owner's insurance agency, we have access to multiple insurance carriers and will give you options. We offer renters insurance policies that can be tailored to fit your needs. From protecting your personal belongings to liability coverage, Quality First has you covered. Call us today for a free quote. Auto Owners and Quality First Insurance.
Hello, I'm Daryl, the guy who started Daryl's Appliance back in the 1970s. A lot has changed in 50 years, but not the great people of Cache Valley. We love our customers and we thank you for keeping us in business.
Hello, I'm Daryl's son Jeff. We have 5 factory-trained technicians, which means that we will have your appliances performing at their best. Our parts department has most of the parts that our techs need to repair your appliance on the first visit. Daryl's Appliance, open till 6 weekdays and until 5 on Saturdays.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
Welcome back to KBN News For the People movie show. Just 3 minutes left in the show, so we really won't be able to explore this as much as it probably deserves, but we got to talk about Barbenheimer.
Well, hang on.
This has been so fascinating.
Can I tell you something funny really quick?
Does it have to do with Barbenheimer?
No. It has to do with ChatGPT.
Okay.
And AI.
Okay.
I'm just going to read one sentence. I was just curious because I've been, it's an app on your phone. I downloaded it, and I've asked it to do things just to see how smart it is.
Sure.
So I said, please write a speech about Star Wars as if Donald Trump was speaking. And this is the first sentence. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, Star Wars, it's tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Nobody does space movies better than me. Believe me, I've seen them all, and I can tell you Star Wars is a winner. They've got the best spacecraft, the best characters. It's unbelievable. I've heard people say, Donald, you should be in a Star Wars movie. And you know what? Maybe I should. I'd be the best Jedi. Let me tell you.
Good.
I laugh so hard because I was
the spaciest we've ever seen from the perspective of space.
Now the Death Star, folks, it's a tremendous achievement. Some people say it's huge, and I agree. It's a powerful weapon, just like our military. And I'm like, and it did this in a matter of seconds. Like, to me, I'm just doing silly things with it, but there you go.
The TikTok kids have taken it a step further. It's not just Barbenheimer now; it's Barbenheiming.
Oh no!
Now it's a dance.
No, I don't know. I've heard of Barbenheimer, but tell me more about this because
I don't have that much to say about it. I just like to say Barbenheimer. I just think we've talked about this before. It's fascinating.
You just like saying Barbenheimer.
It's fascinating when these organic. So studios would kill to know how to make this stuff happen on purpose. But for whatever reason, and my theory is it's just the polar opposite content of Oppenheimer and Barbie coming out on the same weekend. That's just too funny to not acknowledge. And it became Barbenheimer and then became this viral meme trend.
This is the stuff the internet's glorious for.
Yeah, they're basically just combining elements and screenshots and storylines even from Barbie and Oppenheimer into these fake memes, and they're hilarious. But it just fascinates me how organic this type of thing is. Like I say, studios and distribution companies would pay so much to make this happen if they could, but you can't. And it's just random. It comes out of nowhere. No one will ever be able to explain why Barbenheimer even happened, but yet here we are. And it's very funny. If you want to see it, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, it's everywhere. Just search Barbenheimer. and have yourself a good larf. and go see one of them. Andy and I will have seen them by next week. We apologize we haven't seen either one. Again, for both of us, for very different reasons, a weird week. And Mission Impossible still in theaters. Sound of Freedom still in theaters here, at least one theater here in Logan. You can also see Elements, of course, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which is really good. We didn't talk about what's on streaming services, but there's a lot there. Hulu has something coming out. I forget what it was. Shouldn't have brought it up. And that's it for the movie show. Andy will be back with us next week. Hope you will be as well. And stay tuned. Dave Ramsey is next here on KVNU Logan.